Hello again, everyone. I am BBD from the Versus video series, and I'm here yet again for another unboxing video. So I've done Journey into Nyx, and I've done Born of the Gods. That leaves just one set left for the old Theros block. Oh yeah, it's actually Theros itself. So we have a box of Theros that I just Houdini'd out from nowhere, and we're going to be cracking this box up and seeing what monstrosities await us within. Alright, so here we go. Here we are with the box, and it looks like the biggest monstrosity of them all is right here facing us, Elspeth, Sun's champion, because she is a complete monster. And she is also my favorite planeswalker, but I like me the monster type. So I'm going to see if I can maybe do a better job of opening this thing up than I did with the last one. Oh, I think I got it. Yeah. That is legendary right there. That's some legendary box opening skills. They can't teach that, all right? That is you either have that skill or you don't. They can't teach that. All right, let's jump into these packs and see what we got here. Theros was a big set and had a lot of pretty sweet cards, so really hoping that we open some bomb rares here. Start with Sip of Hemlock. So this is like actually just a really awesome, flavorful card. I don't know. It just really embraces the old like Greek flavor of. I think it was like Socrates dying to the sip of hemlock. So it really cost the Greeks 6 mana to kill him, but I guess it was worth it. I guess he was good enough for that. So all right, let's see what we got here. We have a first set, and we open Thoughtseize. This is gonna be a good box. I can tell already. So Thoughtseize is definitely the chase rare from Theros, and we nabbed that thing right away. That is super awesome. The art is even really cool on this one. So Thoughtseize was originally from Lorwyn, and they reprinted it here in Theros, and it's definitely the chase card of the set. So we jumped the gun on that one and got that one right away. So that's super awesome. We got another Sip of Hemlock. Socrates does not stand a chance. And we have Bronze Sable in this pack. I like to refer to him as the stable Sable, because you can always count on a Bronze Sable to do exactly what you want it to do, which is be a 2/1 creature on turn 2. He does nothing more, but nothing less either. Hopeful Eidolon. Now this was an interesting card, because when I first saw this card, I thought this card was just super bad. I mean, it's just a 1/1 lifelink creature for 1. But it turned out that with the Bestow ability, this card was actually just really good and limited. So this was one of the really surprising cards from the set for me, and really turned me on to how powerful Bestow is. So this card was really just like an interesting one from the set. We have Magma Jet. Magma Jet was another reprint. Magma Jet was originally from, I think, 5th Dawn or maybe Darksteel, one of those sets in the Mirrodin block. And they brought it back when they brought back the Scry mechanic here in Theros. And it's just a really powerful spell. It's going to kill a creature or maybe do 2 to your opponent. But being able to scry 2 on a burn spell is really important, because the burn decks, a lot of times they rely on drawing a constant amount of burn spells. So being able to ship excess lands to the bottom is just super clutch. Okay, wow. So we opened Thoughtseize in the first pack, and we opened Hero's Downfall in the second pack. I know that this is going to be an insane box, because we are already crushing it. Hero's Downfall has been one of the most powerful cards in Standard this entire year. Just the ability to destroy a creature or planeswalker without any restrictions is extremely powerful, and this has been one of the most powerful rares from this set. So Thoughtseize and Hero's Downfall, 2 of the most powerful cards from Mono Black Devotion, which has been the most dominant Standard deck, and we nabbed both of them in the first 2 packs. So it's been really sweet. Here we got a Grey Merchant of Asphodel. It's another really powerful card that's seen a lot of Standard play. So we're just crushing it here. Another Magma Jet. And we have, all right, we're crushing it even harder. We got a Miletus Charlatan. All right, well, maybe this card's not that great. Whatever, we'll go to the next pack. So they can't all be winners. For every Thoughtseize, there's a Miletus Charlatan. Oh man, Fleet Feather Sandals. This card, one person once said this card is Umezawa's Jet. Now, that's not actually true, but this card is much better than people give it credit for. I have won a lot of matches in Limited with that card, so that's a pretty sweet one. Okay, here's our first ordeal. Now, the Ordeals cycle was actually kind of frustrating for Limited because you could go like a 1-drop creature, then you could put an Ordeal on it, and you could really end the game super early. So a lot of people were frustrated with Ordeals, but they were really one of the iconic parts of Theros drafting. And Ordeal Thassa, no exception to that. Nemesis Immortals, I was a huge fan of this card because it was like just a super fun card where it really utilizes a lot of different aspects of the block. So one, it has the monstrosity keyword, but it has this thing where every creature in your graveyard makes it cheaper to cast, but also cheaper to monstrous. So really, it's just a fun card like all around. And then we have a Rage Blood Shaman, which he pumps all your Minotaur creatures, a Minotaur Lord. Not a whole lot of like great Minotaurs in this set, so he hasn't been that great, but still a pretty cool creature anyway. Rip open this pack. We have Lightning Strike, which I was always a little weirded out by the fact they printed Lightning Strike instead of just reprinting Searing Spear instead. But Lightning Strike has been kind of a staple card from this block ever since. Same with Nihilia's Disciple. It's been just a staple card for the green Devotion decks to gain a bunch of life. And Titan of Eternal Fire. All right, this box started out pretty good. It's really tailing off. Titan of Eternal Fire is kind of like he's kind of the crappiest guy from the set. You just look at the picture. I mean, just look at that face. How is that a good card? I don't know. But he gives all your humans the ability to deal 1 damage, but he is not the most powerful of foes. So Titan of Eternal Bulk Bin, I like to call him. All right, we have Nessian Asp. And personally, I always like to draft the deck I called Asp to Asphodel, where you get a bunch of Nessian Asps and you get a bunch of Grey Merchants of Asphodel, because they are 2 of the most powerful 5-drops we have access to for this set. So Nessian Asp was just an enormous beater in Limited, where it was so hard to attack through a Nessian Asp, especially monstrous. And one thing that was really sweet about him is he is a 4/5 for 5, so by himself he was bigger than Stormbreath Dragon. And then when you monstrous him, he's an 8/9. He's still bigger than Stormbreath Dragon. So he was always just bigger than the dragon. And then we have Pixis of Pandemonium. So we are, all right, we started with Thoughtseized Hero's Downfall, but we are on a tailspin after that, because Pixis of Pandemonium is pretty much the loosest rare in the game. So we're just going to move on past that one. See what we got. All right, I think we've opened Dragon Mantle as our first card in like the last six packs in a row. And I actually really like Dragon Mantle a lot, so not too sad about that. We got Titan Strength 2 is another cool one. Basically like a giant growth kind of effect, but has Scry. Another Ordeal. Horizon Chimera. This card was so good in Limited, but it was actually good enough that it's seen a little bit of constructed play too. There was an infinite combo with Horizon Chimera, Fathom Seer, or Fathom Mage, and Archangel of Thune, where you would gain a life when you drew a card, which would trigger Archangel of Thune to put a counter on all your creatures, which would cause you to draw a card with Fathom Mage, which would cause you to gain a life, and cause the Archangel to trigger again. It was this infinite loop. So, okay, yes. This is my favorite god. We opened Dirty H, Heliod, God of the Sun. So, can we just stop open? We don't need to open the rest of the box, do we? I mean, we got what we came for. We got the Heliod. Is that? All right, that's not how it works. We have to open the rest of the box. But Heliod, God of the Sun, he was unfortunately the least played of all the gods, but he is the coolest of all the gods. He is just a badass. Look at him. He's holding that spear, and he is killing people with it. I don't know. Heliod is just by far my favorite god. Or Dirty H. I like to call him Dirty H. All right, we accidentally pushed to the foil, but it is unfortunately just an observant Alciad. And I was a little too observant with this pack, but that card's not super awesome. But our rare is a Mistcutter Hydra, which actually is really cool. Mistcutter Hydra has actually turned out to be one of the most powerful rares for the set for constructed purposes. Protection from blue is extremely important, especially when mono blue is a very popular deck, and can't be countered is also very important when the set has Dissolve in it. So Mistcutter has been pretty powerful, especially with Nykthos. You can really power out a giant Mistcutter Hydra. We have Read the Bones in the set. So Read the Bones is a personal favorite of mine because I love drawing cards, especially black draw spells. And Read the Bones is like divination that lets us scry 2 first. So very powerful card at the cost of 2 life. And black usually has these kinds of powerful draws where you have to pay life to do so, and Read the Bones is no exception, just a really good one. And Fade into Antiquity is another really good one that lets us exile an artifact or enchantment, which is important when there are gods in the set. So being able to exile gods is pretty awesome. And here we have our rare, which is Psychic Intrusion. I actually have had this card cast against me in the Pro Tour, and it is actually pretty good. It's surprisingly good. My opponent took Elspeth out of my hand and then beat me with it. So Psychic Intrusion, kind of a nifty one of those like hand disruption spells that blue-black sometimes gets, where it has a powerful upside as well. And then we have a foil Blood Toll Harpy, which unfortunately not that exciting. But we also get a Boar token, and I'm not going to bore you too much with that, so we'll move on to the next pack. All right. I think that this guy is misnamed because I don't find anything about him loathsome at all, but I definitely find him very catobleepus. So you might have to bleep that out, but I don't know what else to say about him, but pretty cool card. Sea God's Goulet, as we like to call it, where basically you just cast this card and then your opponent dies. And this is one of those sweet cards from Theros Block that has Scry 1 tacked on at the end of it. So there's a lot of cards in Theros where they just added Scry randomly to it. And this one is basically like, kill your opponent, Scry 1. So you cast Sea God's Revenge, your opponent loses their entire board, and you're about to attack them for lethal, but first you're going to Scry 1, put that Triton Fortune Hunter on the bottom, and go on. All right. Oh, wow, we got a foil Sea God's Revenge in the same pack. That is the old Sea God is not happy at all. He is... or she is quite mad, as it is a female. So we'll move those to the side and focus on Polukranos World Eater. So we are really hitting some of the powerhouses in this block because Polukranos has been an important standard staple for the past year, and it's just power level is through the roof. First of all, 5/5 for 4 mana is just massive, and then the monstrosity ability, just making it bigger and also killing creatures. This card is just an absolute powerhouse. One of the best rares in the set. So we are knocking it out of the park with this one, and God's willing, we'll be opening some more awesome cards as well. So let's see what we got here. We have a Celestial Archon, and yeah, this one's not too exciting. It is a flying first strike bestow creature. I know I mentioned earlier that bestow is really cool, but this one is a little too expensive to be good. So we're gonna pass that one by. See what we got here. Oh, Boon of Erebos. Now this is a really fun card. Black doesn't actually get these effects that often that like pump their creatures. So this one, pumps your guy and regenerates it. It's just an awesome combat trick. And it also triggers heroic. So it's a very good card in this set. We have another Ordeal. This is a mythic rare for a limited. Ordeal of Perforos. Just extremely powerful. Out of all the Ordeals, this was the most powerful, and being able to go just like one drop into Ordeal of Perforos was usually game over. Every time I saw one of these in a pack, I just immediately took it. And then Fanatic of Mogus we have as well, which this card is actually worth something, and is extremely powerful. All the red devotion decks have been playing it. Some of the mono red decks play it too. It's a 4/2 for 4, so it already has pretty good stats, and it deals a lot of damage. And then we have Anger of the Gods. So I know that Wizards is trying to move away from a lot of powerful 4 mana wrath effects that destroy all creatures, and they really like a lot of the 3 mana ones. And Anger of the Gods is one of those types of cards, and it's actually one of the best ones they've printed in a really long time. The last one was like Slagstorm that I can remember, and Anger of the Gods is definitely more powerful than Slagstorm and has been seeing play in Modern and other formats too. It's just an amazing sweeper and just a very powerful card. So that was the first quadrant, our first third of the packs we opened, and we opened some bombs, so I really hope the rest of these packs can be on the same level as that. We have Old Voyage's End. So normally this card's really not that exciting. It's just an unsummon, but it has a Scry added onto it for an extra mana. But in this set, it's actually super powerful because this set's all about making the biggest creature you possibly can. So bouncing it back to your opponent's hand makes them waste a bunch of mana and makes their creature smaller again. And our rare is Night Howler. And actually, I'm going to keep that golem token as well. Night Howler is actually one of the coolest rares from the set. It is actually been a very popular card in a green-black like graveyard deck where you dump a bunch of creatures into your graveyard, and then Night Howler is actually, one, it's just a huge creature on its own, and two, you can bestow it onto another guy to make that creature huge, and then when that creature dies, you have a big creature again. So Night Howler is actually a really powerful card, and it actually checks both graveyards too. So if you kill a lot of your opponent's creatures, Night Howler is pretty big. And then this Golem token, since Theros was the first block, this was one of the first enchantment type tokens. And so in my opinion, it's just the coolest because of that. It's just the original, and it is a 3/3 from Hammer of Perforos, and it's just a pretty sweet Golem. So we'll keep that in the cool pile over there, and see what we got from here. All right, well, Sedge Scorpion. I've had a lot of fun battles with that card. Just pretty fun. 1/1 Death Touch for 1. We have another Ordeal. All right, Agent of the Fates. So Agent of the Fates is the most annoying card to play against in Limited. It is one of the best rares in Limited because there are so many ways to target creatures, and your opponent's going to play this card, and then they're going to target it a bunch of times, and you're going to lose your entire board. So every time you see this on the opposing side of the board, you should definitely be scared. And then we also have a foil, and it's a Crone Crusader. Now, it's just a common, but this card has actually seen a lot of play. In fact, Tom Ross won a Star City Games Invitational with this card in his main deck. So this has actually been a huge standard staple. A lot of cards to target it with a heroic keyword, and it makes a creature every time you do. A lot of powerful things like Launch the Fleet or Titan Strength or Dragon Mantle to target a Crone Crusader. So it's actually a really good foil, despite being a common. All right, let's see what we got here. The old Prescient Chimera. They decided to reprint Demolish, one of the pretty low power level card, but I'm not going to complain. Dark Betrayal. So I didn't think that this card would ever see that much play, but it turns out Mono Black was really good. So ended up seeing a lot of play. And then for our rare, we have a Temple of Mystery, which just part of the Temple cycle, part of the blue-green Temple. And I think that this card actually is going to be seeing a lot more play moving forward with like the power level of cards like Courser, Crufix, and the like. So Temple of Mystery, though, definitely probably one of the better temples from this set. All right. See if we got anything sweet here. Lash to the Whip was never as good as people expected it to be in Limited. Freakish Cure actually saw a lot of constructed play in the mono black decks for all the red decks. And then Dissolve. Okay, Dissolve is one of the premier uncommons from the set. It is they've been printing a lot of 3-mana counterspells lately, and Dissolve is definitely one of the best ones they've printed because you get to scry, and scrying is just extremely powerful. So this has seen a lot of standard play. Definitely one of the premier cards from the set. Triton Tactics, though, is one of the coolest cards because when this set came out, I really overlooked Triton Tactics a lot, but it ended up being very good not only in Limited but also saw some constructed play. People were using this to trigger the inspired cards from Born of the Gods, but it also triggers Heroic on 2 different creatures. So definitely a cool card there. And then we have Timoret the Burger King. So this guy is, I don't know, this is just a really, really cool card. So he's not that powerful, but first of all, the art's just awesome. It's this zombie warrior with a gold mask. The name, I mean, he's just the Murder King. Like, I don't know. That's just a really cool name. I like to call him the Burger King, but I don't know. Whatever. Timoret's a pretty sweet looking card, and he just has an awesome name. Can't go wrong with the Murder King. And got another Lightning Strike. It's not a bad one. And let's see. Another Fanatic Amogus, too. Another Ordeal. And then we have Temple of Triumph, which is the red-white temple. This one didn't see nearly as much play as some of the other ones, but was really good in the burn decks. So it did see play there. And with the Khans of Tarkir coming out with 3-color sets, I think Temple of Triumph is going to start seeing a lot more play. Fellhide Minotaur, which is the old standby 2/3 creature for 3 mana. They've been printing those for a while. They still always see play in Limited, though. All right, so here we have some more of these Hoser cards. So Dark Betrayal was the first one we saw. Theros had like a set where every color got a card that hosed something else of the same color. So black one was destroy target black creature. The red one is destroy target mountain and deal 3 damage to that creature's controller. And then we also have the white one in here, which is exile target white permanent. And this one was arguably the best of the cycle because it could exile Detention Spheres, but it could also exile Elspeth And Elspeth was one of the most powerful cards from this block, so Glare of Heresy was great there. Century of the Underworld was a great limited card, but didn't see much more play beyond that. And we have Old Hundo-Handed One, or E-Honda, as I like to say. 100-Handed One was definitely the most flavorful card from Theros, by far. It's just this giant creature, and then when you monstrosity it, it basically just gets 100 hands, and just goes crazy with 100 hands. And once it has 100 hands, it can block an additional 99 creatures. So just from a flavor standpoint, it's just awesome success. Just this giant creature that ends up blocking everything when it grows additional hands. So really, that was when I saw that card, I was like, wow, this set's going to be awesome. That was the card that did it for me. Another Grey Merchant and Read the Bones, really good pack. All right, so our rare for this one is a Steam Augury. So when this card came out, everyone was comparing it to the card Fact or Fiction, because it basically does a similar thing. You flip over the top 5 cards of your library, they get separated into piles, and you get a pile. Unfortunately, this one ended up being a lot worse than Fact or Fiction because your opponent got to choose the pile. So even though you separated them into 2 piles, your opponent ultimately making the final choice is what made it a little bit worse, but it is still a pretty sweet card. And this pack also has a foil, and it's Horizon Chimera, which I think this card is definitely pretty awesome card. I already talked about it earlier, so I'm not going to dwell on it much more. But I'm going to put it in the sweet pile because I like me some Horizon Chimera. All right, let's see what we got here. Messenger Speed. So this card is kind of crappy. It's a really crappy card. However, I won my first match at Pro Tour Theros with this card. It was so bad it should probably not have been in my deck, but this was my first win, was this on a Sedge Scorpion and won me the game. So I have very fond memories of Messenger Speed, and that was quite an interesting trip to that Pro Tour, but I'll spare the details. However, I will not spare the details on Fleecemane Lion. So this card was originally Watchwolf from Ravnica Block, which was just a 3/3 vanilla for white and a green, and since then they've been really printing that a lot. So there's Call of the Conclave and Return to Ravnica Block, which played well with Populate, and here there's Fleecemane Lion in this set, which is has the monstrosity keyword, and when this thing goes monstrous, it becomes indestructible and has hexproof. So it's actually a very powerful card. A 3/3 for 2 mana is pretty good by itself, and as a monstrous creature, it is almost unbeatable. So Fleecemane Lion is a really powerful card, seen a good amount of play. All right, and let's see. Unknown Shores. So I don't know why they went with this one. They could have just gone with whatever the one they had before was called. Can't think of the name for that exactly. Yeah, Shimmering Grotto, that's it. All right, I'm being told Shimmering Grotto. So I played a lot of Shimmering Grotto, but Unknown Shores hasn't really caught on that much. Another Nemesis Immortals. We have a Burnished Heart, which this was a really fun one for Limited, where you could block your opponent's creature and then get 2 lands out of it. So that was a cool one. Cutthroat Maneuver, never really saw that much play. But we did open a foil and a regular in the same pack, so that's got to count for something. And we opened another god, Erebos, God of the Dead. He is my second favorite god behind Heliod, God of the Sun. And we have opened both of those two. So, yeah, I like to consider that a bit of a win. Erebos actually has seen probably the second most play out of all the gods, just being a powerful card against a lot of the control decks, and Mono Black just being a powerful deck. So Erebos, really awesome card, and that's definitely a big one. I'm going to put the 2 Cutthroat Maneuvers over there because they came from the same pack, and that's just added value right there. Leaf Crown Dry is probably one of my favorite of the common bestow creatures, just really, really sweet. And then God's Willing is a really powerful protection effect that has Scry. Scry is really good, and this card's actually seen some constructed play. So let's see. Last Breath. I just love this card because I just like making jokes. Whenever I kill a creature with it, I just like to say, like, that's the last breath that creature will ever take, or something suitably cheesy. Just a lot of fun to be had there. Yes. We got another board. We got another Miletus Charlatan. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna try. Our goal now is to complete our playset of Miletus Charlatan by the time this is done. We're gonna have so many 2/3s that our opponent will not be able to handle it. So, all right, we're on the Miletus plan, and no one can stop us. We are of the charlatan variety, and Omen Speaker's a pretty cool one. Not going to dwell on that one too much, but just Scry's a really powerful mechanic, and it feels a lot like Augur Bolus, which saw a lot of play. And then there's the old Voyaging Satyr, and this card has actually seen a lot of play because it can untap the card Nykthos Shrine to Nyx, which is very powerful. So seen a lot of play for that reason. And then we have Fire Drinker Satyr. Now, I kind of want to just rip this card up and throw it away because I don't like this card that much. I keep losing to it all the time. I played a deck in an event, and I named the deck F Fire Drinker Satyr, where F stood for a more vulgar term, because my deck couldn't possibly beat this card. In fact, I did lose in the event to this card. So I'm not a fan of Fire Drinker Satyr, but I can't deny the power of the card. But maybe another day I can just rip one of those up for my own personal satisfaction. All right, Hunt the Hunter. So this is the green one of the cycle. Gives the creature +2/+2 and lets it fight an opposing creature. I think the only one we're missing is the blue one. So we're missing Gainsay. All right, all those boar tokens. I think I had some boar tokens here. Yes. All right, there we go. We finally get to use those with Curse of the Swine. We get to exile X creatures, and for each creature exiled, you get to put a boar token into play. So Curse of the Swine, pretty sweet card. All right, we're on the last half of the box, so I'm just going to get rid of this box here, and we'll focus on these last 12 packs. All right, what are we trying to open here? Trying to open a couple more gods, and we're trying to get the last of the cycle. We're trying to get Gainsay, and then we also want 2 more Miletus charlatans. So we're halfway there, and we are definitely living on a prayer. All right, Reverend Hunter, definitely a cool one. I actually had this card played against me a bunch. Very powerful devotion card, where your devotion to green equals how big this guy is, basically, +1. So if you have a lot of powerful, cheap green creatures, Reverend Hunter's generally just really massive. For only 3 mana, that's a pretty good deal. All right, Guardians of Miletus. All right, that's a good sign. That means that we're on the Miletus plan for this pack. So we have a Guardians of Miletus, and all right, we got the Witch's Eye, Satiable Harpy. Oh, I saw it was blue, and I thought it was going to be a Miletus Charlatan. Instead, it's just Master of Waves, one of the best rares in the set. So I guess that's a little bit better, but sometimes you're disappointed when you don't open that Charlatan. But this is Master of Waves. He has been completely dominant. He won the very first Pro Tour when Theros came out, and has seen a lot of play alongside Thassa, God of the Sea. So even seeing play in older formats too. Master of Waves, really powerful card. So that was a great one to open. It's no Miletus Charlatan, but it will definitely get the job done. Man, we've been opening a lot of these gray merchants, so we are flush with merchant. And then here we have Arbor Colossus, and Arbor Colossus also has actually seen a surprising amount of play. It's just a 6/6, just a country 6/6 for 5 with reach. Doesn't get more country than that. It's going to be swatting those flyers out of the sky, and you can monstrous it to kill a flyer and give it +3/+3. So you actually get a lot. You get a lot out of your money's worth for Arbor Colossus there. He gives you a lot for just 5 mana. Destructive Revelry, very powerful. Actually, seeing a lot of play in Modern, in a lot of the burn decks. So this is one of the best artifact or enchantment destruction spells they've ever printed because it deals 2 damage. So surprisingly good card there. And then we have a Daxos of Miletus. So I guess backstory: Daxos and Elspeth were I guess dating each other or hanging out with each other, something along those lines. And I think Elspeth accidentally killed Daxos, and then Heliod killed Elspeth. So I don't know. Things went wrong somewhere, but either way, Daxos is not to blame. He does have the word Miletus in his name, so I'm counting that as a half win. Along the lines. Stone Shock Giant. This card was really cool for limited, where you could, set up a big turn where you got to monstrous Stone Shock Giant and then just kill your opponent. And then Flame Speaker Adept was also really awesome in limited because there are a lot of cards that gave you repeatable scry effects. So you could just scry over and over and over again and make this guy huge and have first strike. And then we have opened a Metamai the Ageless. Definitely a pretty powerful mythic rare. One of the really unique cards from this set, where whenever it attacks and deals combat damage to a player, you get to take an extra turn. And so that's taking an extra turn is nothing to scoff at. That's an extremely powerful effect, and it's a flyer, so it's hard to block. Meta by the Angel is just a really cool card from the set. And then we also have a foil rare in the set too. We have a foil Polis Crusher. So I think that this is one of the coolest cards from the set, just hands down. One, you can make Crush the Polis jokes. They just really write themselves. And then also, one thing my friends and I used to like to do is we like to strike the Polis Crusher from time to time, where you just like walk around and then all of a sudden you just jump into the Polis Crusher pose. So it's actually a powerful card too, but there's a lot of fun that can be had with Polis Crusher. And we also opened a foil rare and a mythic in the same pack. So that was a pretty insane pack. Insane in the membrane. All right, we got a Dissolve and a Dark Betrayal here, and then we've got the old Acroan Horse. So much like Hundred-Handed One, this is a super flavorful card from the set. You basically, whenever you play this card, you give it to your opponent as a gift, and then every turn you get a horse, or you get a soldier that comes out of the horse onto your side of the battlefield. So it really just fits the exact flavor of the Trojan horse, and just honestly a very cool card all around. When I saw that card in the set, I was pretty excited. Much like Hundred-Handed One, just really fits the flavor. Man, we are merchanting our opponent to death. Wingsteed Rider, really scary card to see on the other side of the board in limited, especially with an Ordeal of Perforos. Tormented Hero, I know we've opened a few of these, but this card's seen a lot of play in some like aggressive decks and has a lot of upside too. And then we have a Labyrinth Champion, which honestly one of the more mediocre of the heroic cards, but the art's pretty cool. He's basically slaying some sort of a Hydra creature, so definitely interesting art on that one. All right, this pack is not cooperating, probably because there is a Miletus Charlatan in here. All right, we have a foil Unknown Shores, and I'm just gonna skip. All right, we have a couple of, actually these are both super powerful heroic creatures, and a lot of the heroic decks at the Block Pro Tour play both of these, and this is a good card to turn them on. And our rare is a Soldier of the Pantheon. So Soldier of the Pantheon, now this is like kind of a monocolored block, so Soldier of the Pantheon doesn't do that much in this block, but both Return to Ravnica previous block and also Khans of Tarkir the next block are featuring multicolored. So Soldier of the Pantheon has actually been a pretty powerful rare, and one, just being a 2/1 for one's not bad, but having protection from multicolored and gaining a life whenever they cast one is nothing to scoff at. So Soldier of the Pantheon, definitely a pretty strong rare to open. We are running out of packs here, so we really need to hit another god in the next 4 packs. All right, we got another Sea God's Goulet, got another Triton Tactics. We have a Reaper of the Wilds. So I actually played this card at the Theros Pro Tour in my constructed deck. And I really like this card a lot. One, it's a 4/5, so dodges a lot of removal spells. It also dodges removal spells because it can gain Hexproof, and it can gain Death Touch to trade with anything. Really, Reaper is just actually a very, very powerful card, so definitely that's actually a pretty good pull out of that pack, is a Reaper of the Wilds. All right, we only have 3 packs left. 2 of the art is Thassa, and 1 is, I don't even know what that guy is, so we're going to open him first. So just get him out of the way. We'll save the 2 Thassa packs for the end. Maybe we'll open an actual Thassa in them. All right, skip by some of these. Mogus's Marauder, actually, I lost to this card a lot. Very powerful, giving all your guys haste and intimidate. So this is a pretty cool card. Black doesn't usually get haste effects, so this is a really weird one for a black deck to get. Oh man, Whip of Erebos. So this is one of my favorite cards from the set, hands down. Really just a freaking awesome card. Whip is really good with, honestly, one of my favorite cards of all time, which is Obsidian Ghost Council, because you can use the Whip to whip back an Obsidian from your graveyard, and then you get to keep the card permanently if you do the triggers right. So Whip of Erebos is just an extremely powerful card. I love playing this with like all the graveyard stuff like Grizzly Salvage and things. So Whip is one of my favorite cards from the set, and I knew as soon as it was printed that I was going to be playing with that card. So that's a really cool one. It also goes with the Erebos that we opened as well. So awesome stuff there. Got another, man, we have been opening the crap out of these Ordeal of Perforoses. Our opponents are really dead. And then, man, another awesome rare. So I think the moral of the story here is Theros just has a lot of awesome rares because we're really opening them in almost all the packs. So we have a Chain of the Rocks here. Chain of the Rocks is just super awesome card flavor-wise. So it's basically based off of the Greek myth of one of the Titans who was basically chained to a mountain. And here we have a creature where you basically chain them to an actual mountain in the game. So if your opponent destroys the mountain, then you lose the chain to the rocks and their creature comes back. So a lot of awesome flavor there, and also just a very powerful removal spell at 1 mana. All right, last pack. All right, come on. Can't even open it. I'm just, yeah, we're really struggling to open it here. But all right, flip from the back. No token. Let's see. Not a foil, so I'm gonna flip a wreck around from the front, and we're gonna slow roll this one at a time. Loathsome Catapult. I think I pronounced that right. All right, Keepsake Gorgon, actually pretty sweet one. I think it's the first one we've opened of this. I like that card a lot. Flame Speaker Adept. All right, Spellheart Chimera. All right, here's the rare. And the final reveal is Hammer of Perforos. Okay, that's actually not that bad. We actually got a couple of Golem tokens that go with the hammer, so Hammer of Perforos actually seen a good bit of play. So not a terrible note to end on. Unfortunately, we did not live up to the Miletus challenge. We only got, I think, 3 Miletus guys. We got a Daxos, and we got 2 Charlatans, and that was our Miletus thing. But we opened a Heliod, we opened an Erebos, a Pelucranos, and our very first pack gave us Thoughtseize Heroes Downfall, our first 2 packs. So all in all, pretty awesome set. We opened a lot of pretty awesome rares. I don't know. Got to say that I was really happy to see Heliod in the pack. And hopefully you enjoyed watching this. I want to say thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, make sure you subscribe and like below. If you want to see more, check out the ones in the boxes over here and watch other sets being unboxed just like this one. Again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.